All right, let's hack. Um, so the menu for today
What's the
is
topic today,
Java.
Max? Do we
So
have any
do we have any
announcements?
announcement? Don't think so. I don't think we have. Do you have anything to announce?
Oh man, absolutely. I
All right,
always
go
have
for
stuff
it
to
then.
announce.
It's time for you to shine.
Yeah. So in a few weeks, we'll be in Southern California. If you're in California, for our MongoDB local event, I'll personally be there. Are you going to that
Nope.
one, Max?
I will be home, blogging
No,
and doing content.
that works too. We also have our MongoDB World in May. It's a little far out, but it's not too early to sign up. Same for I see in the comments. We also have Seattle. Almost forgot about Seattle. So if you're in Seattle, we have a MongoDB local there as well coming up.
All right. Actually, I can probably reuse the project that I used last time. So last time I was using a project
There we go.
in. So, sorry, are you done? I was thinking out loud.
No, yeah, I'm good.
Um,
Keep going, man. Don't let me
sorry,
stop
my
you.
bad. I was focusing on what I want to do. Um, so last time I think we did a project called this. Open as project. Cool. All right. Let me switch screen and we're good. So if I remember correctly, last time we did something like this. Um, so let's actually destroy all of that. Now we have Taylor Swift. That's actually taking in. All right. Um, so last time we did this little app, and I want to do more or less the same thing, but I want to do something a little bit different. I want to show you how to map documents. So let me just remove all that stuff. Let's start fresh here. Um, so I have a very simple project, and actually we can um, also check out the latest version of MongoDB because there is a new thing coming. So maybe we can just hack with this as well. Because if we check,
And what version are we
so
using
right
right
now
now?
we are, you can see it on the screen actually, it's 3.11.2, and there is a new version,
Oh,
MongoDB
perfect. There you go.
driver, Java. So if we check out the documentation, there's a new beta version.
Oh, are you able to zoom in on that?
Which part? Right, left?
Yeah, let's zoom in on your browser a little bit. It's kind of
So in
small.
here we have a new version for
There we go. Oh,
4.0.0 beta 1, right? Um, so we should be able to test this one today. So let's check if we can. Uh, so 4.0. What am I doing?
oh, we lost
4.0
the code.
and it's dash beta 1.
We lost the code on the screen,
Did
Max.
we?
Right
Oh,
now it's just
yeah,
showing both of
sorry.
us. Yep.
That's because I'm using my shortcuts. Uh, all right, we're good. Uh, so apparently it's in here, so it should work. Yeah, of course you can ask questions and stuff like that. All right, so we have a very basic project working in Java 13 right now, which is the latest current version of Java. We have the MongoDB driver sync project package, and we have just the Maven compiler plugin just to be able to compile the code and run the code. So we're, I think, ready to hack. So let's try something very simple here. Um, let's take a database. I'm going to call that Twitch and persons. Um,
Are you able to zoom in just a little
yeah,
bit
I
on
can.
that code too? Maybe like Control plus maybe once. There you go. That's
Much
much
better?
better.
All right. All right,
Yeah.
so let's start doing a few things. So let's check first that this user still exists because I'm actually not sure of this. And to be honest, this cluster right here doesn't ring a bell to me. So let's check what we have here. and make sure we have a MongoDB connection. Um, mm, so let's get back to my things.
Can you hit the zoom button maybe once or twice on the browser again?
Did like that? Maybe one more.
Yep. Good. Perfect.
Um, so let's use my cluster 0 here and make sure I have a user. So make sure I have a user. It's going to be right about database access right here, and indeed it does not exist. So let's create a new read write any database. I'm going to create that user Twitch with a password super safe and
You can make this a temporary user if you
the
want to.
PJs. What are you doing? We ran out of music already. Um, say again, Nick.
Let's go ahead and click that Save Temporary User checkbox so
Oh,
that way
yeah,
you don't have to
good.
remember
I
to
can delete it in 6
delete it
hours,
later.
so people won't be able to hack me
Yep.
too long. And yeah,
Only
and
for
actually
six
they won't
hours.
be able to do that because the access is limited through my network actually. So if you don't have this IP address
Got it.
or this one, it means you can't connect to my MongoDB um, database anyway. So we are pretty safe here. So this Twitch account is now created. So let's start hacking. So let's come here, click connect. Need connect your application using the MongoDB URI, and let's use this in here. Right.
And this is more or less just a refresher of the last Java
Yeah. So
stream that you
far,
did, right?
yes.
Before
It's
we
a
get
warm-up
just
section.
something new.
So I call that Twitch
Perfect.
and super safe. All right. I'm gonna call this persons, and I should be able to do persons dot insert one, and I should be able to say how do we create a person? I actually forgot. Um, New document maybe? Yeah, key value. So I'm gonna be name Maxime. Alright, let's give this a spin, see how it goes. Alright, so first thing, apparently it worked. We can check this real quick by checking in Atlas.
It worked even though that you got that what looks to be like a red error in the
Yeah,
logs, or
I
did I
was gonna
miss
check
something?
that in a second. That's the new thing actually
Sure.
in the driver. Um,
Got it.
my DJs, you need to fix the music. I don't see any new music coming in. DJ Rebecca, what are
Yeah.
you doing? Um, so indeed, in the Twitch now I have one person created right in here. All right, so with just me and my
Perfect.
name. Okay, so very simple for now. So that worked, and indeed here you saw there is a warning in the log. So that's a new thing actually in the new 400 driver. I can show you the doc actually. So driver Java MongoDB, and if we check the doc, if we check in here the new things, pum, 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 where is it? I read that somewhere. What's new in 404? Upgrading guide. Yep, so it's right here. The driver no longer logs. God, we have Taylor Swift again, guys. Guys.
It wasn't me. I didn't do that one. I think it might be
Hey, thanks
repeating.
for the following, AGN, that AGVN. Um, God, we need new music. What are you guys doing? Okay, what music do you want? I have to do it apparently.
Um, I don't know. If I let you do it, we'll probably end up with some death metal on
Yeah,
here, right?
it's probably what's coming. Um, I love Queen, so let's go for a Queen, Queen something. All right, so up, sound request, this.
There you go.
Good. Um, Probably gonna reduce the sound a little. Let me know if it's too high or too low. Don't want that to cover my voice. Just want a background music. All right. Um, so I was saying in the doc, so here you have a list of all the new things coming in the new 4.0.0 driver Java, and one of the things that's been upgraded. Why is the sound gone already? What have I done?
I'm still here.
All right. Yeah. Oh,
Can you
good.
still hear me?
And one of the new thing is they removed the integration of Joule, which is a Java util logging tool, and now they integrated the SLF4J logging system. Um, so, like they are saying in here, so warning, SLF4J not found on the class path, logging is disabled, etc. So, what we want to do, and I'm totally in the improvisation here, so we want to add SLF4J. And I'm not sure what we need actually exactly in here, but probably,
Can you zoom in a bit?
yeah,
It's pretty small.
probably need this guy, I would say. Probably stable version should do the trick. So let's see what's happening if I do this. Okay, adding this, making this a variable. Okay, let's start this again. And at some point, alright, so we have a new error now which says fail to load class f4g static logger binder. So I guess now what we are missing is an implementation for SLF4G, because SLF4G is just an API and we need some sort of implementation for this. So we could use um, what's the name of it? Logback, for example. I guess we need logback core, I would say. Let's give this a spin. Oops. Alright, let's start this again. Hmm.
The great times of doing something
Yeah,
live,
I
right?
haven't tried that before actually, so that's what hacking is all about, right? Um,
Yep.
Maybe it's the wrong one, maybe I need classic, I'm not sure. Scope test, that's interesting. I'm definitely gonna remove the scope test. Ah, that's definitely better. So now I have things happening in the. So now I have a lot of things. All right, so that's probably what I needed. So let's get rid of this, I guess now. Let's make this a variable, and I don't need this. All right. So apparently, no, we're good. Let's start this again one more time.
Perfect.
just to double check. Right. So now I have my logs. Right. And they are pretty annoying actually because they are logging really everything about what's happening in the MongoDB program, right? So anything that's happening, anything that the driver is
Yeah.
caching, it's basically logging everything. So I don't know if you have done that before, Nick, but I think we can get rid, like we can configure logback to say like all these things info, I don't want to see them, for example. I want to see only errors and things like that. It's pretty basic logging
Yeah.
stuff, but I haven't done that for a while. Um,
I think you can do that directly in the IDE, right? Not
um,
programmatically.
no, you do this
Can't
by
you?
having a property file, I think. So let me check. So logback
Sure.
properties.
It's been a while since I've actually sat down and written some Java, but I thought IntelliJ let you select the library output or whatever. Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe I don't know this feature, maybe, but I don't know about it.
Yeah.
So let's see what we have here. Logback architecture, blah blah blah. Basic example. Um, yeah, so basically you can do something like this. Either using, you see some XML config file, or using a class.
Yeah, it's a little
Oh, it's like
small, but
still
I
small?
see it.
Damn it, everything's smaller on my screen.
A little bit. I think every time you open up a
Yeah, I
new
need to
tab,
zoom a little.
it it
Yep.
goes back to the standard. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, you can use context and you can use different things, but the basics looks something like this apparently, right? So you can basically configure everything and
Sure.
say whatever you catch in the std out from the console appender, well, whatever you catch in the debug should go to this std out, and you configure the appender here, and you say it should go to the console, and with this pattern, to write things. Um, let's give this a try actually and see what we have. So logback.xml in the class path. So I think I need a property, need a resource directory in here. In here I need a file called new file, so logback.xml. Here I can copy paste this, and I should do just fine. So I don't have the hour here, where it's at the very beginning. Oh, looks very similar actually. So I'm not sure I'm
Yeah.
gonna see a difference, but if I say this, just to see if it works, yeah, it definitely works, right? So I'm catching everything now. Yeah, so that's how it works, right? So now once you have this, you can configure everything and say what you want to see, what you don't want to see, and what you want to do with the output. So I guess if I just comment this out now, I should not get anything in the output. Yeah, right? So everything disappeared. Make sense?
Yeah.
So I can
Makes
definitely now
sense.
configure the things, and I guess, if I hack a little bit, I could have debug and what was it? We had info as well. Um,
Yep.
so I could also copy paste this and make a different appender and say that
You want to scroll up? Oh, all
good.
right. Never mind.
So I could say std out
Yeah, some of it's a little bit's cut
info,
off at the top.
and that looks alright to me so far. And std out debug, something like this. Here I could just say like info and debug. like this, right? STD out. So this one will be debug. Info, like that. Not sure it's gonna work. Oh, it does. So you see, it allows me to just classify
Perfect.
things and just you know, put things in order. So for example, all the debug thing, maybe I just don't want to see them. I just want to see info. Looks like it's very redundant
Yep.
actually in here. Yeah, I'm just logging everything twice actually right now.
So I wanted to do a time check real quick. So we're about at
Yep.
30-minute past.
So let's move this.
So shoot.
Let's move this quicker. Um, Alright. So now I have only the info and yeah, I'm just gonna disable everything for now because I don't need everything. I just want to see my own logs and I want to avoid
Sure.
useless noise. So let's hack like this. All right. So that was one part, you know, exploring the new driver. I think it's also valuable. Um, so
Yep.
let's create a new document. So what I wanted to do here is move this to a POJO, right? So I'm not manipulating anymore a Mongo collection of documents, but I want to move this to a Mongo collection of
Yeah.
persons and make sure that when I get actually a document from this, when I do a find, it's automatically mapped, you know, to my POJO document. To make it more easy to manipulate and easier to use getters and setters and everything, because it's just more convenient to manipulate than a new like a Mongo document, right? This class here. Um, so let's delete everything I've created so far, like so. I'm going to do that at every start, so it's I start from fresh every time, and I'm just going to create a new document. So let's just add a few things in this document person, which I'm going to rename person. So what do I have? I have a name, I have a surname maybe, so I'm going to do, so that's going to be first name and surname, right? What else do you want, Nick, in a person document?
Go ahead and put your Twitter stuff, your Twitter handle.
Twitter handle, that's a good idea. So my Twitter,
Yeah. Get a little shameless plug in there.
so I can put this, I can put my age, so I have a different type of, uh, yeah,
Uh
I'll
oh, you
show
sure
you
you want to
one,
put
that's
that?
fine for now. That's fine for now. We're young, Nick, we have to, you know, we can, we can just use this, you know. We should not feel
Yeah,
ashamed of
I kind
this.
of feel like I'm 100, but all right.
So first name, surname, Twitter, age, and maybe an address. So I could say something like person.append and address, and that's going to be a sub-document, right? So it should look like something like this, and that's going to be in an array because I could have like several addresses. So should be
Yeah,
arrays as list, and it's going to be a new document. So as list, I can replace this with this. Going to have only um, one single entry anyway for now. And in my address, I want I don't know, city for example, which is going to be Paris for me, and maybe I can append something else like I don't know, street for example. And I can pretend I live on the Champs-Élysées. Why not? Right, something like
sure.
this. And now I can do persons dot insert one. My person document. I'm gonna rename that Maxime actually, so it's gonna be easier for everybody to understand. Alright, so I'm gonna just add myself, right? That's my document representing
Sure.
myself. Just for the sake of
Yep.
it, we can do another dude called Nick. So we have at least two documents to work with. So Nick. So Nick Raboy. What's your Twitter? It's
Yep.
nraboy, right? Like that.
Correct. Yep.
Uh, so
Yep.
because apparently
Exactly.
your age, is a problem, I'm gonna say you are 24, right? Um, and you live in where do you live actually? You are in what's your city already?
I'm in
Street
Tracy.
again? Tracy?
Tracy. Tracy. Tracy.
CY Tracy and street. I don't know.
I don't know. Let's just
USA
make something
Avenue,
up.
right? Whatever.
Yeah, there you go. Elm Street.
So here we are. Okay, we have something like this. Maybe we need a street number just to have something a bit different here. So like a different type of document. Um,
Yeah. If you think it'll make a huge difference here.
just for the sake of it. So you live in 123 and
Yep.
I live in number. Yeah, lack of imagination. That's really my problem. And I live in 321. Something like that. I had me and I had you. So if I start this program again and go back in my MongoDB Atlas and refresh my list for a second. And wait. Alright. Alright, I did a nasty copy paste here. Yeah,
It,
it's Nick.
yep. Looks like we missed some fields there. Oh, there we go.
So that's probably better. Let's try this again. And I'm cleaning everything at the beginning anyway, so should be just fine.
Oh yeah, I see.
Yeah, that's my trick to always have a clean database. It's called zero data. Uh,
Sure.
you just wipe your database every time you run your program. That's the key. Um, so that's
Yeah.
what I have. All right. So I have one document with one subdocument
Cool.
within an array, and that looks like any real document, right? If we know how to map this to a POJO in Java, we can do pretty much anything, right? Because we can. It means we can manipulate arrays and
Yep.
subdocuments and documents themselves. So we can pretty much map anything after that. Sounds good, Nick? Sounds great. So
Sounds
let's try
great.
this. Um, so we need several things. First, we need a POJO that represents this, all right? So let's create this right now. So I need a new Java class called uh, person. Hi, Joe. Hello, gang. So we need a new class called person to represent this. So what do we have? I don't remember already. So we have first name, surname. Let's start with this. So private string first name. I said surname, not last name, but whatever. We need, what do I have here? Oh, Twitter. I need an integer to represent my age. And I need an address, which is going to be type address because I need to create this new made up type that I created. And there's going to be actually a list of address, right? Because this is a
All right. Yeah. Are you able to scroll up just a little bit? A little bit of your screen is chopped off, and I want to make sure that we've got in everything on the screen in case
chopped
people are
off.
curious.
Why do you say it's chopped off?
Just a little bit. The top, we're missing. You got a curly bracket that's closing, but we don't see a curly bracket that's opening. So if you just bring the window down just
I'm
slightly.
at the top, Nick, so I'm confused.
Is there no curly bracket at the top? On line 11, we see a
You
closing
don't
curly
see
bracket.
line
Oh,
line one?
oh, wait, there we go.
I'm confused.
We don't see line 3, 2, or 1. Oh, Joe says he can see it. Maybe
I
it's just
think
me
you have
then.
an issue,
Oh, all
Nick.
right. Ignore everything that I just said.
Uh,
Ignore it. I was scrolled. I didn't realize I
yeah.
was
All
scrolled.
right. Oh, okay. Oh, I guess. Oh, yeah.
That is
You are
user
not in full
error.
screen mode. All right.
Yeah, I was experiencing some
All right.
user
Okay.
error right there.
Brain
So
lag.
proceed.
Brain lag do happen. All right.
Yeah,
Um, so person. So first name, surname, Twitter, age, and address. But that's a list of address, right? Because we have several addresses actually. So it should look like this. I'm gonna say addresses, plural, and create address. So
perfect.
now I need to create this class address, and this one I need. I don't remember, but I think we have a city. What else do we have? We have a street, and we have
Yep.
a
And we
number. I think
had
so. Integer
yep.
and street number, right? Something like this. So for both of
Yeah, I
them
think
now,
so.
I need to make sure they are POJOs, so I need to create everything I need. So I need getters and setters for everybody. I need to generate everything, so I need equals and hashcode, just because I'm a clean person. I need
You're doing some pure witchcraft with this editor. I've never seen any
oh
of
yeah,
this done for automating all of
yeah.
these
So
code
basically,
blocks.
I'm just
Yeah.
generating all the code blocks. So just need this basically, and everything else is just
Yeah.
boilerplate code. You can generate for POJOs. So you can see I generated a toString,
Yeah.
an equals, and a hashcode. So I have pretty much everything I need here, and same thing for this one. I'm gonna do getters and setters for everybody. And by the way, I'm using the setter template builder. So it's not a normal
Yeah.
setters, it's returning this. So I could just chain them, with a builder pattern. So it's just more
Yeah.
convenient to use.
Got it.
We're gonna see that in a minute anyway, so that's why I'm not spending too much time on it. I need a toString, and I need equal and hashcode as well in here to make sure I don't mix everything up. And I think we're pretty much good to go. So now I have something that looks like this. All right, that looks like the documents I want to manipulate in my application. So let's get back to my app. Um, and let's adapt this to make sure that we can actually map those documents. So um, what do we need to change? So the first thing we need actually to change is how we connect to MongoDB. We need to actually put some setup because we need to tell to the MongoDB driver that it has to actually go through my classes here and make sure they are recognized as MongoDB documents. They are part of the mapping system, right? So MongoDB includes already like default mapping utilities to map default types like strings, for example, and integers, and all the different default types you have in Java, like big decimals and all stuff like that. So we need to tell to the MongoDB drivers that it can use that, to map my things. Make sense, Nick?
Makes perfect
So
sense.
let's do this setup. So I have this actually in a corner, so I'm just gonna reuse shamelessly my piece of code, and
Works
it
for me.
looks like this. I don't need this, by the way, anymore because it was part of the previous the driver thing. Now it's part of it's a new system, so that's old
Sure.
code actually. So I can just get rid of this. So let's just copy paste this part of this piece of code and get this. So before I was using this connection string and I was just creating my Mongo client connection right here, right? It was just this one single line of code. Um,
Sure.
so actually I'm going to reuse almost the same thing. So let's bear for me for a minute. Uh, so now I need to not use a
Yeah.
string directly as a connection string, but I need a connection string class which is going to be fed in my Mongo
Yeah.
client settings in here. Apply connection string, right? So
Yeah. So, question is the connection string class and the codec registry, are those part of the
uh,
MongoDB Java driver, or is this something that you're
absolutely,
creating? Sorry, I'm definitely not a pro at
absolutely. No,
Java.
that's a good
It's
question.
been a
Yeah,
while.
you see, it's part of the com.mongodb package. So yeah, it's definitely part of
Got it.
MongoDB. So it's a very simple class to just handle like all the MongoDB connection options and everything. Everything related to the connection string,
Sweet.
basically. So
Yeah.
connection string and this guy take a string. How convenient, right? So I'm just gonna input this in here, and it means I don't need this anymore, right?
Yep.
So that's the first part to adapt. Second point, I need to import this from driver, right? So you can see the import here. So I'm using the org.bison.codecs, and I need two things. I need
Yep.
so the codec registries is what we are using in the Java driver to be able to do this mapping.
Yep.
And if we have a look to the code, you can see what I'm doing here actually. So I say from providers, I want from the Kodo project providers a builder and build automatically, right? So this thing here is a registry that contains, so this guy will contain, let me read that actually properly. Yeah, so this guy will just look into my project. That's why I say, build auto. It's just gonna automatically detect my two my two POJOs in my class path actually. It's just gonna do some introspection in my class path or something like that and detect my POJOs. Um, so in here, in this codec registry I have basically my person and address. But person and address, they contain
Yeah.
subtypes like integer and strings, for example. And to assure that this will be working, I need to import here the default MongoDB code registry that contains all the default types of Java, right? So you can see that person and address
Yeah.
are like complex made-up types that I'm creating and using, and MongoDB takes part of everything else. So if we check that code registry, if we just go back in here, you can see from provider, and you can see a list of different providers. And for example, if we go to Bison Value Codec Provider, I think it's or the first one. I'm not sure which one it is actually. But we can see very basic stuff like add codecs. Yeah, and you can see here all the codec, and you can see the integer codec, for example, and probably string codec somewhere. Yeah, string codec here. So you can see a
Yeah.
lot of types, right? All the default types, like for
Yep.
doubles, dates, boolean, binary, etc., etc. So that's how it works, right? So now I have everything to handle default types, and I have included in this new registry, so from registry, so it's a composition. I have the default one and my existing registry I just created with my person and address, right? So in this codec
Yeah.
registry, I have like everything I need to be able to map my POJOs. Now I need to create a client settings, which contains all of that. Basically, it's going to wrap all my MongoDB connection options, in just one place. So I have my connection string,
Yeah.
my connection, my codec registry, and I can just build that, and I get my client settings. And now I just need to replace this in here. And if we look at the MongoDB client create method, it can take my connection string, which is what I was using before with a string, or it can take MongoDB client settings, this one, right? So that's what I want to use here.
Yeah.
And that's it. So by doing this, normally I'm basically done and I'm ready to rock. Um, so now I should be able to do the trick, the thing that changes everything. Uh, so let's just make my code a little bit more simple so everybody can follow me. So that's my database, right? That's my MongoDB database. So that's not typed, right? Because there are a lot of connections in my database. And in here I
Sure.
have my MongoDB collection of persons, right? And here if we look at the signature of this, there are two signatures actually. There is collection name and collection name, comma, the class, the document class. And that's exactly what we need here, right? So I want to say it's not a MongoDB collection of documents anymore, it's a MongoDB collection of persons. So to say that,
Sure.
I just say here it's a person.class, and here it's going to be now person. And you see, it works, right?
Yep.
So let's transform all this code now, okay? Because here I was manipulating documents, and now I can make this code a lot more cleaner, or should be. So let's create again my new person Maxime, right? So a new person, which I'm gonna store in a Maxime variable. I'm gonna say here it's a Maxime doc, and that's Nick doc, right? So you see it does not compile here anymore because I'm sending documents and not POJOs, right? So I'm
Yeah.
just gonna comment this out for now. So let's create my document again. So person, it's empty because I didn't create a constructor, but I use, you know, the pattern builder, so I can
Yep.
just set use setter. So set first name, it's gonna be Maxime. Set surname, Beugnet. Set my age, 31. What else? My Twitter, I forgot my Twitter in here. Set Twitter, like this. And my address at the end. Set addresses, I'm gonna say max address. Maybe I'm gonna do it in two variables.
Yeah, let's drop the line too so that way it doesn't
Yeah,
expand off the screen.
yeah,
There we
yeah. My
go.
editor does that automatically.
Oh,
Fancy.
fancy.
Okay, looks good. I'm gonna create this variable, list of address, which is equal to singleton list and new address, which contains a city, Paris. Set a number. I think it was 123 or 321, 321, and a street
Yeah.
number, Champs-Élysées. Right. Um, so I think we good. I could. Is it better if I put this in one variable? I'm not sure.
That's fine.
It's mostly fine. All right.
We get the
Yeah, that's
idea.
fine. So now I can get rid of this Maxime document, right? And it's way easier to
Yeah.
read now, right? It's a lot more simple than doing the key value, manipulation that we were doing here, where I have to say
Yeah.
surname and Raboy and etc. So now I just have to
Well,
use,
it's not just easier to read, but it's easier to
yeah,
work with
of
in
course.
Java,
That's
right?
the right
Working with a
way. Yeah,
document
that's the
might
right
not be
way to work
pleasant.
with documents, basically. Um, so let's do the same thing with you, Nick. It's your turn. So person Nick
Sure.
equal.
Just do a bad copy
Yeah,
paste.
I can actually copy paste everything. You're right. Let's be lazy, right? A good developer is a lazy person. I think Bill Gates said that. So yeah, I
I'm
just
very lazy,
I
so
just
that
quote Bill
sums
Gates
it
here
up.
on my stream. You know, that's the kind of guy I am. Um,
A Microsoft guy,
yeah,
huh?
that's definitely me. You can see my desktop. You know, it's full of Windows stuff, right? I don't need that.
Yeah.
All right. So Nick, Raboy, and Raboy. Age, we said you were 24, right? That's absolutely accurate, I think. And
Yeah.
city, you are in Tracy. Your street number is 123, and you live in USA Avenue, right?
Yeah, that works.
Good. So let's get rid of this, and now we can insert Maxime and Nick again, but this time using POJOs, right?
Yeah. Before you run, oh, never mind. I see it on line 31. You still have your delete logic.
Oh yeah, the deleting.
You're
Yeah,
good.
they're gonna vanish. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna clean the database with all two old documents, delete everything. It's my auto wiping system.
Yep.
So that was the old documents, and let's refresh this. Uh,
Should still be
well,
there.
yeah, it should be different, but yeah, the results should be the same, but my Java code is a lot different now.
Yeah. And just for a time check too, we're at about 9 minutes
Yep.
to the
So I
hour.
guess yeah, and I have a meeting in
So
10 minutes, so I'm gonna try to wrap this quickly.
yep.
Um, so yeah, you see that it's working and we have still our documents. So let's try to play a bit with this to verify that everything works fine. So now if I try to find my person,
Yeah.
I can do find with all my documents and into new array list. No, array list, please. Into new array list.
Gotta love that autocomplete.
I'm gonna say yeah, people. Sounds like a good.
Hey, thanks for joining the show, LeoMax033.
And should be fine. And so now if I do people dot for each, and I can create a small function to just should be just fine. All right, makes sense.
Makes sense.
So let's
Yep.
try this.
Let's see this in action.
And here we are. Gonna try to make it a little bit
Sweet.
bigger, and you can
Looks
see my
good.
documents here. They are mapped correctly, and all the data is retrieved automatically using the mapping system. Right, so it's just recreating my objects, using the default constructor and then using the setters automatically to just set one by one all the stuff, right? And I didn't have to
Yep.
do any JSON manipulation, right? Because we know that in the background, MongoDB works and
Yeah.
manipulate JSON documents, right? What we have actually in the database, right?
Yep.
And I didn't have to write any piece of code to, set this up or do any like mapping or how do you say that? Like marshalling, you didn't have to do any marshalling,
Yep.
marshal or unmarshal. That's how you say that, right?
That's how I've
So
been
yeah,
saying
you
it.
didn't have
Yeah.
to do any of that, any formatting, any how do you say parsing? Parsing. That's what I was missing. So we didn't have to do any parsing using
Yeah.
the JSON JSON documents, right? It's all done automatically, so that's cool.
Yep.
So that works fine. We could do an update as well. We can do pretty much anything we want right now. So if I want to modify my document, I can
Yeah.
just say, um, so my document Maxime, I want to change my age to very old person. And if I just say persons dot, so I think I have to do replace here, just to make it simple. Replace one, and I just say Maxime.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Now, while you're typing that, I'm going to ask you some questions, and maybe they exist, maybe they don't exist. Is there a way to automatically generate your objects? Because we had spent time creating a person's object and a class's or a class. I'm saying person's class and an address class. Is there a way at all to automatically generate that
So you
based
mean
on
generate the
maybe
POJO,
a JSON definition?
generate the POJO based on
Yeah.
the schema? I don't think so. I'm not aware of
Yeah.
anything like that. Um,
All right. Well, I didn't know if there was a Java thing
uh,
for that or not,
nah,
because definitely the most time that we
yeah,
spent
now I
today
know it
was on
more.
that.
So maybe there is, but I don't know about it. But it doesn't seem like a
Got
impossible
it.
task to do because we
Yeah.
know that in MongoDB Compass, you can analyze the schema and you can get the whole thing analyzed
Yep.
and give you the schema. So based on this, I
Yep.
guess it would be very easy to just create a small tool that transform this into a POJO and generate the POJOs, right?
Yeah, that'd be cool. Maybe you can build
Yeah, we
one.
could. Could be an open source project. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
where was I? So, all right. So to do my replace one, so if I look at the code here, I need to tell which document I want to replace actually. So I have to give the filter here. So the filter will
Yeah.
be filters dot equal, and that's underscore ID with the Maxime dot get. Oh, I actually forgot to map the ID. I forgot that
Yeah.
actually.
That's all right.
I actually totally forgot this.
For the effort of time, I think we get the
Yeah,
idea though.
so I need to add here my private object ID. I think it's like this.
Sure.
And I can just regenerate the equals and hash code just to make sure, and of course add this to the toString. Right, and if I move back to my app, so my ID is good, and let's check what we have now. So yeah, so my ID is mapped correctly now. So that's a good thing, that's a good sign.
Yep.
And let's check if my replace worked correctly now. So I
Yeah.
should be 500 and yeah, I'm very old now. So it definitely worked, right? So
That's
yeah,
awesome, man.
that's the things I wanted to show you guys today. See, it's not very long to do. It's pretty easy to actually manipulate documents using Java like this. Um, yeah. Is there anything else you want to explore, Nick?
Not on this particular episode, but there's a lot of extra Java functionality that we haven't touched yet. So I mean, I'd love to see
Yeah,
that on a
next
next
time. So
episode.
next time we can definitely explore more about change streams, for example. So get a stream of updates. Basically, this update here would be code, for example, in my change stream. So I could just, feed a Kafka server, for example, or these kind of things. Um, Also, we could explore
Yeah.
next time aggregation pipeline, see how we could retrieve, for example, um, our average age, for example, and make the average to make sure the average age of the MongoDB DevRel team, for example, is not getting too high, for example, something like that.
Sure.
This is definitely the kind of things you can do, and of course, it works pretty well actually as well with the mapping and with the POJOs thing, right? So for example, if I manipulate
Yep.
documents using my POJOs, like person and everything, in a change streams, I could retrieve my documents using directly the POJO as well. So I'm not mapped anymore at all to MongoDB documents, right?
Yeah.
I would say the old way to manipulate documents, but that's not true, right? Because even if this is very practical to manipulate documents like this, sometimes it's just not what we want to do, right? Because MongoDB, by default, it's a very versatile and very flexible schema database, right? And sometimes you just can't map
Yep.
your documents uh, to a static POJO schema, right? Because using POJOs
Yeah.
just impose a static schema on your files, right? On your documents you are manipulating in your collections, right? So it's important to just say
Yep.
this as well because it's at no point it's an obligation to use this. It's just more practical when you have a very defined and very static schema to use this. It just makes your code, if I can find it, much more simpler to just manipulate files and things and write updates and stuff like that.
Definitely.
But it's definitely not mandatory to use this at no point, right? If you have a very flexible and very changing, for example, schema, then you have to stick with
Yeah.
the old way to manipulate documents using the MongoDB document
Yep.
class, in the Java driver, and that's totally fine as well, right?
Yep.
So yeah,
Yep.
so hopefully we had a good run
Well,
today. I hope everybody liked that. You can see the replay on YouTube. I think we will upload this at some point on YouTube fairly soon. I guess Rebecca is on this. I don't know where she is. She's probably gonna
if
say
she's
hi in
still
the
there.
chat now in a
No, I
second.
mean,
Um, yeah,
thanks for coming
thanks
out,
for the
everyone,
comments.
to view the stream.
Thanks for being up there and just for listening to Queen. I hope you like the Queen stream today. Next time maybe we're gonna pick another artist. Um, let's see what comes next. All right. So next time definitely
Yep.
Java with change streams and aggregation framework at least, and maybe transactions as well if we have enough
Yep.
time. Maybe
Sure.
multi-document ACID transactions could be a good topic as well. Nick, thank you very good. Thanks a lot for being with me today, for being online.
Yep.
Hope you. Yeah,
All
till
right.
next
Till next
time.
time.
Let me switch you to big screen. You deserve more than a small screen in a corner. Look at Nick, how beautiful he is. It's sunny actually in your place. No, it's already nighttime here. It's a very international stream
Yeah.
today. All right. Thank you very much everybody for tuning in. We have a meeting now, so we're gonna fall back and thank you very much. See you around.